All right, guys, welcome to our Monday Masterclass. We're so excited to have you guys here next week. I just want to start out by announcing that I am not going to be here next week. I'm going to be in Greece with my husband. Actually, let me mute everybody. I just realized I haven't done that. Hang on. Okay. Okay, everybody's muted except for Amy, but I'm not going to be here next week for our next Monday Masterclass. So we are actually going to have a special guest diamond on with Amy in my place, and I'm really, really excited about it. So wait for that announcement. We already have her picked out. It's not that we don't know who she is. We know who she is, and I'm going to be posting a whole big schedule of stuff that's going to happen while I'm gone. So we have some really cool things in store for you guys while I take a much needed vacation. But I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Amy. She's going to kick off our masterclass tonight.
Hey guys! Okay, so we just got to the RV park. Bless Steve's heart, he knows I have a call, so he unhooked the Jeep and he just walked down to go pick it up. So if you see some movement behind me, it's just him getting the RV set up. But we wanted to come and do this master class tonight. We're actually kicking off a series that's going to build on each other throughout the month. I may have to squirt my dog. Tonight's about avoiding burnout. And I think it's really timely. I think it's really an important topic. And guys, even if Plexus is your passion and you absolutely love it and you have fun doing it, burnout is real and we have to be intentional to avoid it. And often the burnout comes simply because we work too much, and we're sharing this tonight because Sarah and I have been there. We have been burned out, but we also have the strategies in place to come back from it, okay? So let's talk a little bit about balance for a second, though, between work and home, because I often think that is our biggest source of burnout, right? And guys, balance is actually a myth. Okay, because to have balance, that indicates an equal distribution between home and work. And, it's equal on both sides of the scale. And that's just not realistic, okay? In fact, it will never happen. Sometimes family's going to win and you're going to spend no time on your business and all the time on your family. And sometimes Plexus is going to win. You are going to spend all the time on your business and not as much time on your family. So when that happens, don't get discouraged and in a funk. Just put some of these strategies into place so you can come back into what we want to call harmony, okay? And it's normal to have a little bit of burnout. Give yourself some grace. I always experience it when I'm pushing for a rank, when I'm pushing for something big like a shopping spree or leaders retreat or any other incentive. It's normal to work harder towards that goal and the balance tip in the favor of work. But what we want to strive for is harmony. Harmony with the home and work life being together and working together. And the good news is we're going to give you some things tonight that you can actually do to honor your family commitments, work more effectively in your business while working less, and avoid that burnout. So if you don't have a notebook handy already, go grab it. Go grab a notebook and a pen, because we're going to give you some tips. And then we're actually going to have Sarah has some great action items at the end that all of us, including myself, are going to do, okay? So the first tip about avoiding burnout is we have to be intentional. Oftentimes we blame Plexus or we blame our business on the burnout. So do our families, right? They get mad at our business or they get mad at Plexus, when in reality, it's us, right? Plexus doesn't say we have to work during every family dinner. Plexus doesn't say we have to be on our phones while our hubbies are trying to talk to us. And Plexus doesn't say we have to miss family moments to do a team call. That's us. We do those things to ourselves, right? We pick up our phone throughout the day when we really don't need to. So tonight, if you do nothing else, I want you to promise us and yourself that you will be intentional with your time and your social media and your work hours, okay? So let's talk about schedules and work hours. It's something we hear a lot about, but not a lot of people actually put into action and put into a place. So when we talk about scheduling your Plexus business, it doesn't matter your means, okay? It can be a calendar, it can be a planner, it can be an iPhone, it can be sticky notes, right? It only matters that you schedule your time with intention and you stick to it. You have to know what works for you, okay? Because Sarah and I tease each other all the time because I'm a planner girl, like with right here with my color-coded pens, and she is not. If I tried to use her method, I would fail, and if she tried to use mine, she would fail, okay? So know your strengths and what's going to work for you. I will be honest, you guys, I tried with this RV trip, I tried to get away from my daily planner with like scheduled work hours, and I tried to go to a monthly system, and I failed miserably. So I've got my new planner on the way because that is just how I am most effective when I do that. So while we say that Plexus is a side gig that you work in the nooks and crannies, you actually still need to treat it like a professional job. Just because we're working from our phones and we're only doing it for 30 minutes a day doesn't mean that we don't treat it like we would any other professional job. So there are going to be days where you need to sit down at your workspace without distraction, wherever that workspace is. It could be on your bed, kitchen table, an actual office, in your car, wherever it is. It just means you kind of clock into Plexus and you're focused on what needs to be done and you ignore everything else, right? And if that means nooks and crannies, that's great. So the way I like to think of it is when I first started Plexus, you guys, most of you know, I was working 40 hours a week. I had a 1-hour commute on each end. And so I didn't have a lot of time for Plexus. I had to be really intentional. And I would put in my planner, my Plexus time. I used pink ink. And I would put in there the actual hours, like, 9 to 9:30 Plexus. And then I knew exactly the 3 things I had to do in that 30 minutes or the 3 things I had to do in that hour, whatever the nook and cranny was. So when it came time for my Plexus business time, I was focused. I didn't do other things. I didn't scroll on Facebook. I didn't answer messages if I wasn't supposed to. So often, if we don't do this and we're not scheduling that time, we're working by the seat of our pants. We feel like we're on our phones all day long, and that makes us feel overworked, demotivated. We actually can't see progress because we never sit down and check anything off the list, right? We're just like posting and messaging from our hip. And then when you can't see that sort of progress or accomplishment on activities, then that puts you in a funk and you feel like you're not moving your business forward, okay? So the other thing we want to talk about when it comes to avoiding burnout, guys, is boundaries, all right? You need to set them, but you need to keep them. So if you have a boundary that says on Sundays, I will not work my Plexus business from 8 to 5, then don't work your Plexus business from 8 until 5, okay? So my boundaries aren't your boundaries, right? Sarah's boundaries aren't our boundaries. You have to decide what yours are and make sure they match up with your goals, right? If you're just pushing for silver, your boundaries in your business might be different than if someone's pushing for diamond, all right? But the key to the boundaries is setting them, but also keeping them. And one thing that's a great way to figure out your boundaries is to have a meeting with your family and sit down with them and say, you know what, guys, I'm going to do this Plexus business. Here's what it means to our family. You can even ask people in your family what they want if you're successful, because it sounds great to say you're doing this for the family. I'm doing it to pay for groceries, or I'm doing it so I don't have to work, or I'm doing it to get the kids out of daycare. That all sounds great, but sometimes you can ask them what is in it for them, okay? Maybe they want a new set of golf clubs. Maybe your kid wants a new toy, right? When you rank or when you get that bonus check. So have those meetings with the people in your family and figure out what those boundaries are, all right? And also keep in mind, guys, you are going to have time to work your business. If you want to be successful, you're going to have to make some sacrifices on your time, whether that's no Netflix or whether that's staying up later, whether it's getting up earlier, but then also talk with your family and figure out what are those boundaries, right? We all have different ones. Some people don't work on Sundays. Some people don't work, at dinner time. There are certain things that you can ask your family that they need you there for. So like if your kiddo says, Mom, I don't care when you get on your team calls, but I need you there for bedtime. Then you have to be there for bedtime, all right? So have those stakeholder meetings with your family and set those boundaries and make sure that you stick to them, because The great thing about our business is we work from these little phones, but it's also really easy to pick these phones up. So sometimes, guys, I have to turn off my cell signal, put my phone in the other room, or else just out of a bad habit, I will pick it up if I'm sitting there and I'm not supposed to be on it, okay? So that brings us to these phones and social media. The great thing about our business is that we're dependent on social media for our business. I mean, it's an awesome thing. Like, hello, how we get paid to be on Facebook, and we get paid really well. I don't know of any other gig that can pay me like $100 just to play on Facebook, right? But social media can also make us resent our business. When we use it to numb our mind, when we're stuck in scrolling without intention. And what happens is we blame Plexus in our business and we resent Facebook and we want to take a break, right? You see that all the time. Guys, this isn't a Facebook problem. This isn't a Plexus problem. This is an us problem. It comes to those boundaries, and it comes to being intentional with your Facebook time, all right? You need to schedule it. So if you have an hour for your Plexus business, and Sarah's going to go through how you prioritize what that looks like, but you need to schedule FaceTime or Facebook time, right? And if it's not time for Facebook during your business hours, don't open Facebook. When it is time, do not scroll. That's the biggest time suck we can have. You can scroll and you think it's been 2 minutes and it's been 45, right? And you've done nothing but numb your mind, which actually can lead to feelings of anxiousness and a negative mindset. Do you guys know that? So how can you be intentional with Facebook when you do schedule it? One, you can take your list of potentials that you have and engage with each of them on Facebook for like 10 minutes by going to their pages. Don't scroll to find them. Go straight to their pages, engage with them, all right? You can leave all of your messages unread until you're ready to sit down and answer those messages. This was something Nicole brought to my attention as an awesome tip. So do not answer them. They will stay bold. Then when it's time for you to do your message work during your Plexus business, you can click all unread and answer them deliberately. In fact, do you guys know that when we sit down and intentionally go to answer messages, they're much better, they're much more effective, as opposed to like trying to answer a message while you're on the toilet and there's like a kid crawling at the door and you're listening to a training video, right? So it might feel like you're being productive when you answer messages all day long because they keep coming in, but you're actually not. So that's one way to be really intentional. And also, make time for the team page, all right? I can't stress how important this is. I know a lot of people don't think being on the team page is important to their business, but it builds your influence with your ambassadors. And if they don't see you on the team page, then you're not adding value to them, right? So during your team page time, you also don't want to scroll, okay? You can check photos for any graphics you may have missed. You can keyword search your Jewel Upline's name or whoever the admin to that page is. So if you're on my team, you can search my name and then you can sort by most recent and see what I posted that day. Then you just want to take 10 minutes to comment. All right. And I'm not talking about tagging. I mean, tagging is definitely necessary for important things, but I mean, comment your thoughts, answer questions, give shout outs, or you can post yourself. That is a big thing that built my influence and my confidence when I first got started. Is every day when I would get home from work, I would spend like 10 minutes on Sarah's team page and just answer questions, ask questions, and really get involved that way. And then the last tip I have, you guys, for that social media being a time suck, before I kick it over to Sarah, is if you have an iPhone, they actually now have a screen time tracker where you can set, it'll tell you how much screen time you have, which is kind of eye-opening, but don't let it get too hard if you're actually being intentional, right? It's okay to be on social media for 2 hours if I'm really working my business, but it has a feature where you can actually set limits on certain apps. So you could set a limit on Facebook and say, I'm only going to be on this app for an hour, and then the phone will shut it off for you. So definitely check that out. And now I'm going to pitch it over to Sarah, who, get ready guys with your notes, because she's got some really good ways of prioritizing and some actions that you can take.
Hey guys. So thank you so much, Amy. And I just want to reiterate that, boundaries in your business and scheduling out your business and having this little, kind of seesaw, teeter totter, whatever you want to call it, of balance in your business between your family life and your business life is really, really key to success, because I can't tell you guys how many times I have gotten into burnout mode myself. And it's usually after, I've pushed for a big goal, or, something like leaders retreat contest is over, convention contest or something like that. And I've been out of balance, which is fine for a season. There's going to be aspects and times where that is normal and it needs to happen because you are pushing for a goal. But we're kind of an all or nothing society. And so once we hit that spot of burnout, or that spot of like, okay, the goal's over, and then we like swing the pendulum all the way back the other way. And we don't need to be doing that on either side. So I think it's really, really critical that you guys understand that this isn't all or nothing, that you can change the balance and change the structure of your time to fit the current season of your business, to fit your goals, to fit your why and everything that's going on right then, okay? So it doesn't need to be all or nothing, and I'm totally an all or nothing person. So this is something I've personally battled with my entire time within Plexus. And so I'm coming to you guys from a place of been there, done that, and I've kind of figured out what works, okay? And so for me, I don't work outside of Plexus. I am a stay-at-home mom, and so my entire job and our whole income is Plexus. So very, very easily, I can fall into the trap of working my business all the time. And what I've noticed with my personal self is if I don't set a timer and say, okay, I'm doing my IPA for the next hour, set my, click on my phone, set my timer for 1 hour. If I don't do something like that, and then have a clear list of priorities that I have written out that I need to get done during my IPA, contact Jen, call so-and-so, whatever those look like during that hour, if I haven't sat down and spent 5 minutes, just 5 minutes of prep work before I sit down and do my full-on IPA, it derails me so badly, because I'll have messages coming in, little pop-up notifications, and I go in to handle those. And before long, I've spent 4 hours and not gotten a single bit of IPA done. So one of the biggest priorities, so I'm going to list off 4 priorities that I personally have in my business that I have to schedule in every single day. So the priorities to me in my Plexus business, I'm not talking about in family life or anything like that, just purposefully, just solely in my Plexus business. The biggest priority for me is always new business. The second priority is retention of my current ambassadors and my current customers. The third is the culture of my team. So once you guys have a growing and thriving team, that becomes really big. And what I mean by cultures is mainly relationships, okay? And that kind of ties hand in hand with retention, but it's a little bit different, so I wanted to put it on that. And then the fourth is personal development. If you're not growing, you're not going to grow. So those are the 4 big key things that I feel are super, super, super important. Yeah, so Amy's got them. Thank you, Amy, for putting those in the notes. So those are so key. And so everything that I'm doing, I want to make sure that if I am prioritizing things that are going to impact, number 1, new business, number 2, retention, number 3, culture or relationships, and number 4, personal development. Like everything that I'm doing when I'm sitting down, I'm not scrolling Facebook without intent. I'm not just answering messages and doing those things. I schedule those things in because those are aspects of my business that are going to breed relationships and new business and that sort of thing. But you've got to do it with intent, and you've got to do it with efficiency. Otherwise, you're going to get into a trap with your husband, with your spouse, with your family, where they're going to start resenting your business. And that's not the spot that you want to be in at all. And you're also going to feel burnout with that. So you've got to organize your activity based on those things. And so, like I said, I always set my alarm for 30 to 60 minutes, however much time I have that day, to work my business based on the priorities of that day. At the beginning of the month, I always set out my monthly goal, and I have that very, very clearly defined so that I know what I'm after. If you are sitting down without some sort of goal in mind for the entire month, without some sort of goal for the week or for your day, you're not really working towards anything. You're just going through the motions. You have to be purposeful with your activity. So I sit down, I spend 5 minutes figuring out what I'm going to do during the time that I'm working. I schedule out time, and I don't spend entire days working my Plexus business, because I will tell you the biggest thing I have seen, and I promise you I've seen it over and over and over again, when people move from having very, very little time to work their business and they have some sort of a life change, like going from working to stay at home, suddenly they become severely inefficient in their business because they have all the time in the world, so they do nothing at all. When you limit your time to work on Plexus, suddenly you become crazy, crazy, crazy efficient. And guess what? All the little pieces of balance fall into your life, all the puzzle pieces to come together, and you feel more contentment with your business and less resentment. So schedule that time, y'all. Don't just put it up in the air and say, I'm going to spend 6 hours working my business today. If you have 6 hours to spend on it, holy cow, you're going to move mountains that day, but you better prioritize it out, right? So you want to do all the things that Amy was talking about. You want to spend time on the team pages. You want to spend time attending calls and trainings and going to events. But those 4 things I mentioned at the beginning part of this, those are your top priorities to moving business forward. So I want to move into talking to you guys about what effective activity is, okay? There's busy work versus purposeful work. And I think that's a really, really, really big key for everybody. So what I say, scrolling with a purpose, what does that mean? You guys, every single month, you got to start out with your list of 20 people that are your hot list for that month, okay? Who is on your list of potentials? Who is on your list of people that you are working towards to bring into this business? Who are your brand new ambassadors, your level 1 runners, working ambassadors? Who are your customers? Those are the people, that list of 20, and then all of your active customers, ambassadors, and so on and so forth, are the people that you're not just scrolling Facebook. You are putting them into a group on Facebook so that when you hit the news feed, they're all in your news feed. So you guys can actually cite, we'll have to post some deals on the team page to show you how to do this, but you can sort your Facebook friends list into groups, specific groups, so that when you click that group of friends on your Facebook page, you can actually go and see, okay, it's just those people that are showing up in the newsfeed. And then you can very, very quickly go and hit all of them: support, business, relationship build, comment, like on their posts, what have you. Like, do all of that so that you are optimizing your time and not just scrolling through a kabillion Plexus posts from other teams and people that aren't relevant to you, right? So that's a really huge thing that you can do to really, really efficiently use your your Facebook page and your scrolling time on Facebook. The other thing that you can do is plan out your posts for the week. I want you guys to plan out 3 Plexus posts per week. That's it. The rest can be filled in along the way, whatever's happening. And mainly, I want you guys to be posting things about your own life, non-Plexus, right? 3 good Plexus posts a week is really and truly all you need. You do not need to be posting every day and spamming your friends unless something comes up, like you need to get some more people in for the 7-day trial or something along those lines. It's more timely. But think about it, on Sunday nights when you're spending your hour after your family goes to bed, what are you going to be doing like that week? What are your goals for that week? Write down 3 goals. What are your posting goals? What are your marketing goals? What are your who are your potentials, the people that you really want to reach that week? Think about posts that will, a testimony that will draw that one person in that you're trying to get. Think about what's going on in your business. Do you have a 7-day trial coming up? Do you need to post about that? Is that one of your posts that you want to make? So on and so forth. Then also sit down and write down 5 people that you want to message that week and how you're going to message them, when you're going to message them, how you're going to set that up, how you're going to strategically build that relationship or strategically reach out and keep talking to them about Plexus or just whatever needs to happen in that relationship. Okay, guys, planning is everything. And I realize that this sounds complicated, but really it's not. It takes about just a teeny tiny bit at the beginning of the week, and then your whole entire week is plug and play. You can sit down for those 5 minutes before you sit down to work your business for an hour every single day, and that's truly all it's going to take, you guys. A really efficient hour of working your business. And you know what? When you get to a place where you have a much larger team, maybe you need 3 hours per day. I know I can tell you guys, I work my business far more than 1 hour per day, but I am not wasting my time sitting there on Facebook. I could literally spend 8 hours a day scrolling Facebook and then walk away from my business thinking, okay, I got a whole lot done. And then really, truly thinking about it and saying, you know what, I legit got nothing done today. And I just wasted an entire Tuesday, an entire Monday, whatever it is, and I've gotten nothing accomplished. So plan out those 3 posts per week. Sit down, have your hot list always at hand when you sit down to work your business. Use the Plexus IPA sheet, and that's found in your back office, you guys. That IPA sheet is golden if you need just some sort of framework or what you should be concentrating on in your business. But you need to have a clearly defined goals. You need to have a clearly defined why. Always have that potential list of top 20. Always have your new ambassador list handy. Oh, wait, sorry, I'm losing my voice, y'all. Always have your ambassador list handy. That's current ambassadors that are using the products or working the business, and always have those customer lists handy as well. Anytime that you're in doubt about what you should be doing, you're hitting those specific lists. So I can tell you guys, I have it in one of these, and I've showed you guys this a million times, but this class record book, it's a teacher book, and every single page in here has different lists of different types of people in my business, whether they're potentials, whether they're ambassadors, whether it's tracking my points, all of that. So I know what's going on in my business at all times. And I have specific days in my week where I'm scheduling and following up with old ambassadors. I'm following up with people that quit and just relationship building. I have specific days where I am checking in on my customers, checking in on my ambassadors that need to be followed up with for that week. And then I have specific days. I always try and reach out to potentials every single day, but some days, you guys, it just doesn't happen because other things are going on that take precedence. But I always do, always follow up Friday is my huge, big IPA day. It's a huge day for me to really sit down and do my business. And that's my big day to work my business for hours. Okay. So you've got to figure out what works for you. Maybe that time schedule doesn't work for you because you guys work and you have to figure it out. What Amy did that I loved when she was building to, Sapphire and everything else, she sacrificed her lunch hours and she would work through her lunch hour and do it all then. It's amazing what you can get done in 1 hour when you have it all scheduled out. So you've got to just sit back and think, okay, what are my priorities? What do I want to get accomplished this week? What do I want to have my marketing be this week? And we cannot just post and hope. We cannot. We've got to start moving business forward behind the scenes, not fully just on our newsfeed, fully on social media. There's so much that we can do behind the scenes to really push business forward. So those are the things that I want you guys to sit back and think about as you're leaving this. Yes, the Power Hour layouts, I will upload to the 30-day. I think I already did, actually. If I haven't, I'll go check. There's a Power Hour layout in the 30 that I have that I've used many, many, many times that I want you guys to check in and see, and it's a PowerPoint. So we can post that in there and you guys can start using that on your own to just do it, 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there, that sort of thing. So Amy, did you have anything to add to that?
No, I think that's great. The only thing that I really, really want people to hit home is that doing all these things, making the list, planning the time, setting the boundaries is great, but it's up to us as individuals to follow through. Because even though you set the boundaries, We have to follow through, because it's so easy to make the pretty plans and to make the pretty schedules and set the boundaries, but then we keep picking our phone up and scrolling. So guys, be intentional and deliberate.
One thing I wanted to say too, guys, is the biggest trap that I have fallen into my business is getting sucked into Messenger. And so you guys might notice that I actually don't start responding on group chats until about 10 a.m., 10:30 usually. And that's because I have prioritized my morning to get my workouts done, because I feel that since I represent a health and wellness company, it's still really important for me to take care of myself. So I prioritize getting my kids to school, dropping them off, and then hitting the gym, and then doing my IPA power hour before I go into response mode and putting out fires and, just reactionary mode. And so those messenger messages, I've had to put that personal boundary up for myself, because I found when I hit messenger right away, that's when my whole day would derail, and I would have other people determine what I was focusing on throughout the rest of the day. So I have specific times of day where I go and I check the messenger. So you guys might not see me comment for a couple hours. Doesn't mean I'm not engaged in Plexus, but it does mean that I have put that boundary up. And I personally, I don't work on Sundays anymore. I used to when I was pushing for Diamond, and you guys, there comes a point where it's not attractive for people to see you working your business 24/7. That's not something that they want in their life. And so I had to come to terms with, okay, my family needs to come first on Sundays. I need to spend that whole entire day with them, and I will check in at 8 o'clock or 8:30 after my kids go to bed on Sunday nights. But before that, if we are doing family time, I am not on my phone. And that's the one day a week that I've had to put like a hard and fast. I also very rarely hop on between 4 and 8 o'clock during each day, because that's when I pick my kids up from school and put them to bed. And so those 4 hours for me are sacred for my family every single day. But everything else, I kind of try and schedule out. And I'm not the most organized person at all. I'm actually, probably, Amy will attest to this, one of the most disorganized people. However, scheduling your day really truly works. Use that phone alarm. That's the biggest thing I can say. Use that phone alarm, and know you only have 30 minutes to work your business. You only have an hour to work your business. And so get it done and knock it out. All right, guys, I think that's all we have for tonight. So thank you guys so much for hopping on. I hope it was super helpful. And let us know if you guys have any questions as well. Bye.
Bye, guys.